Joining me now is Rashad Robinson. He's the president of Color of Change. He's been working directly with social media companies on how to prevent the spread of misinformation. And Janelle Ross, who is our reporter, who's been covering the election in Georgia. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Rashad, let me start with you, because this is weird. This isn't just Twitter or just Facebook. This is information from all quarters, conspiracy theorists. There's a member, an elected representative in Georgia who is an avowed conspiracy theorist, QAnon believer. And then you have the president going out and saying, we won Georgia. He didn't win Georgia.
Part of why this is so all over the place is because of decisions that the social media platforms have consistently made to prioritize growth and profit over safety, integrity, and security. So in every phase when they do that, they make decisions, they make rules that allow this content to travel quickly, to not actually disable people's account the way that they should, to not pull down this information as quickly and not put in systems to actually pull it down quickly. We've had many conversations. We ran campaigns, we pushed. We had a whole boycott this summer on Facebook, and even while we were having the boycott, they were making claims to media about how much of this information their artificial intelligence actually catches. And then you realize that's not actually the case. Their artificial intelligence is designed, once again, by people inside of the companies whose intelligence should be under question, both in terms of the sort of history of disinformation and misinformation when it comes to elections, but also the day-to-day sort of interactions that people have with these platforms that allow this information to travel so quickly, to allow it to serve sort of greater profit for the leaders of this platform, and to in many ways, to allow political decisions about not wanting to be in the bad graces of one political party. So as a result, not make the hard decisions. All of this is a result of that. For anyone who's watching, this is not a car accident. This is a result of decisions that have been made that now communities like ours, like Black communities, are having to deal with.
Janelle, let's talk about the effect this is actually having on voters. We are seeing remarkable voter turnout. We are still seeing a reduction in the number of polling places for advanced voting, but it does seem that Georgian voters are energized, something that folks are worried about in a special election. It doesn't always happen that way.
True. It seems for the most part that turnout is pretty significant. We are about 1 week into early voting, and thus far, turnout is almost at the point where it was about this time in the general election. It's a little below that, but it's about where it was at this point in the general election. There is, without question, I think, a lot of conflicting, often utterly false information floating around. This is an occasion, however, where it seems that much of the disinformation, it will be very interesting to ultimately know where this information is coming from, because it doesn't quite seem to be having the desired effect. I would say that when I speak to people around the state of Georgia, I'm headed to Macon today, I am in Atlanta now. It seems to be many Republican voters who are most distrustful of the voting system, of the election officials in this state, and have real questions and or doubts about the ability to have a free and fair election. And therefore, I've certainly spoken with some people who have really questioned whether or not this is something they want to spend their time on, if they just want to totally disengage from this process. On the other side of the equation, I think I've spoken to a number of Democrats, many of them people of color, who have a lot of concerns about what local officials, in their view, are doing to make it difficult to vote. You mentioned the issue of closing early polling sites or limiting the number of early polling sites, which can have a pretty significant effect if you have to wait more than an hour to vote and have a job where you are paid by the hour.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that point in America where we figured out how to let people spend that time, although arguably should we be solving for people spending several hours in voting lines, or should we just make voting easier? Lots of issues for us to continue to talk about once this matter is settled on January 5th. Janelle Ross is our fantastic NBC News reporter here in Georgia. Rashad Robinson is the president of the Color of Change. Thanks to both of you this morning.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.